In the unforgiving skies where stealth meets power, the Russian Sukhoi Su-57 stands as a silent predator. Designed to hunt, strike, and dominate, this fifth-generation fighter challenges even America's most advanced aircraft. Today, we uncover how the Su-57 could outthink, outfly, and outfight its rivals in the ultimate aerial showdown. Think about a dog game of cat and mouse in the sky. Stealth isn't magic. It's an edge you create before the shooting starts. The Su-57 isn't invisible, but its shaping, materials, and engineering reduce how strongly it shows up on radar and infrared sensors. That makes the difference between being an active target and being a whisper in the corner of an adversary's screen. That whisper buys time. Time lets the pilot maneuver, set the terms of engagement, and choose the weapon and firing solution most favorable to mission goals. Getting the first look means you can attack from a position of relative surprise, launch weapons, force the opponent to react, or simply reposition to a safer escape corridor. It's like getting to pick whether the fight happens on a narrow ridge you control or in an open field where the enemy can bring everything to bear. Stealth works hand in hand with tactics. A low observable signature allows a Su-57 to approach without drawing immediate, concentrated fire or countermeasures, so it can probe defenses and test responses. And because modern air combat is as much about sensors and decision cycles as it is about speed and guns, being detected later shortens the enemy's OTA-loop advantage. They see less, decide slower, and often must react hurriedly to incomplete information. Of course, stealth doesn't guarantee victory. It's an enabling capability. Weather, emissions control, friendly support, and pilot choices all matter. But when combined with good tactics, robust situational awareness, and disciplined radio and sensor management, a low signature gives the Su-57 the chance to pick the range angle and timing of an engagement, often turning complex, chaotic encounters into manageable, favorable ones for the pilot and their wingmen. It also complicates enemy kill chains by forcing adversaries to use multiple sensors in closer passes, increasing their risk. When multiple low, observable aircraft coordinate, the cumulative effect multiplies, creating ambiguity that commanders hate and pilots must solve under pressure and buys tactical options in battle. Think of the Su-57 sensor suite like a pilot's extra pair of eyes and ears that don't get tired. It's not just one gadget, but a fuse picture built from radar, infrared search and track, electronic support measures, and data links that stitch other platforms into the picture. That fusion is the real force multiplier. Instead of the pilot juggling separate feeds, the jet blends them into a clearer, prioritized view of the battle space so decisions happen faster and with fewer surprises. Long-range radar can spot targets beyond visual range and cue the IRST to passively verify heat signatures without broadcasting emissions that would give the Su-57 away. Meanwhile, electronic support detects and classifies enemy emissions, letting the pilot know who's active, where their radars point, and whether they're looking for a fight or sweeping the sky. Add data-linked information from ABACS, other fighters, or ground sensors, and suddenly a single cockpit has near-networked awareness. Threats that would otherwise be out of sight are placed on the pilot's map with range, heading, and level of confidence. That means better positioning before the fight even starts, choose the approach corridor, set missile windows, or avoid a sensor that would nullify stealth. It also reduces misidentification risks. Fuse sensors cross, check each other, lowering the chance of wasting weapons on false blips. Importantly, the system gives the pilot time and options, whether to shoot BVR, close in, or break contact, because they're no longer reacting blind. Of course, no sensor is perfect. Clutter, weather, and adversary countermeasures complicate things, but fusion is about making imperfect data useful. In short, long-range sensors plus fusion turn raw data into faster, smarter choices. And in modern air combat, that edge in awareness can be the difference between winning an exchange or being the one who's surprised. Beyond visual range combat is where reach matters more than speed. The Su-57 can use long-range missiles to threaten opponents before they even get close. Modern BVR missiles pair advanced seekers, mid-course data link updates, and long kinematic envelopes to chase targets at distances that used to be the exclusive domain of heavy interceptors. In practice, that means the Su-57 can detect and classify a contact, hand a firing solution to a beyond visual range weapon, and let the missile do the high energy work while the jet maintains distance and stealth. Because the Su-57 combines low observable features with powerful sensors, it can attempt to engage from an unseen position, firing from a standoff where the adversary's radar return is weak or ambiguous. Once a missile is launched, onboard data links and networked sensors can refresh the missile's targeting picture, correcting for maneuvers or new threats without forcing the Su-57 to radiate and give away its own location. This layered approach, detect, cue, launch, and update, forces opponents to defend earlier and at greater ranges, complicating their decision cycle and giving the Su-57 greater initiative. Equally important is missile selection and timing. Firing a long-range missile too early can allow the target to employ countermeasures and expend defensive resources. Firing at the right moment while preserving stealth and channeling support assets preserves both surprise and munition effectiveness. Finally, BVR combat isn't just about single shots. Coordinated volleys from multiple platforms increase probability of kill and create choices for defenders that can be exploited. In the hands of a disciplined crew and supported by a networked force, Su-57 BVR tactics can convert sensory and signature advantages into tangible lethality while keeping the aircraft behind a curtain of low observability and tactical ambiguity. Training and doctrine shape success in these engagements, and pilot judgment. Electronic warfare is the invisible pressure a pilot feels long before any bullets fly. It doesn't always blow things up, but it scrambles the opponent's ability to sense and decide. A Su-57 layered with electronic support and attack tools can detect who is pinging, where they're looking, and when they flick on search modes, then respond in ways that complicate an adversary's thinking. That might mean jamming a radar to lower its effective range, creating deceptive returns that look like threats from the wrong bearing, or cutting the links that let fighters share a single, clear picture. When sensors lie or go silent, commanders are forced to slow down, verify, or blind fire, and in combat that hesitation is fertile ground. Electronic measures also act as a force multiplier for kinetic weapons. By masking a launch platform, they increase the chance a long-range missile survives its mid-course phase, or they coax an enemy into a predictable defensive posture that can be targeted. Importantly, effective EW is as much about timing and restraint as it is about power. Sporadic, timed emissions and pulses that preserve stealth are often more valuable than continuous, obvious noise that tells the whole world where you are. Finally, EW isn't just solitary employment, it works best as part of a network. Link in ACS ground stations or cooperative jammers, and you can choreograph interference, deception, and sensing to deny the adversary a coherent picture while your pilots take clearer, lower risk options. In short, electronic warfare turns the electromagnetic spectrum into terrain to be fought over, not just a backdrop, and mastering it can neutralize superior numbers or weapons by making the enemy's sensors and decisions the vulnerable point rather than the pilot in the cockpit. It forces opponents into mistakes and creates mission opportunities. Tactics and teaming turn a single jet's capability into a practical advantage by stacking problems for the opponent to solve. Think of a Su-57 sortie as a coordinated chess sequence rather than a lone duel. Wingmen can present multiple tracks, AOACS feeds build a wider picture, tankers extend reach, and drones scout or bait without risking a pilot. When elements coordinate, they can shape the battle, fixing an adversary's attention with one axis of attack while another axis delivers the decisive effect. That might look like using unmanned sensors to reveal enemy dispositions, then having a Su-57 slip to a clean firing solution through the corridor left open. Or it can be classic mutual support. Fighters operate in pairs or small packs that cover each other's blind spots and provide instant redundancy if one aircraft systems are degraded. Network data links let those pairs share targeting and threat data, so even if a single pilot is overwhelmed, the team has the collective bandwidth to make better choices. Teaming also expands tactical options. You can bait, flank, or feint to cause sensor overload and force poor defensive choices, and you can sequence missile salvos from different platforms to saturate defenses or bleed countermeasures. Doctrinal discipline matters. Good commanders choreograph when to hide, when to radiate, and when to commit, preserving surprise and munition value. Finally, integrating non-kinetic tools like EW and decoys with kinetic strikes multiplies effects. Jamming can push defenders into predictable maneuvers that a coordinated strike package then exploits. In short, the Su-57's design shines most when it's one instrument in an orchestra. Teamwork and tactics convert individual strengths into operational success by creating dilemmas, preserving initiative, and forcing the enemy to solve multiple simultaneous threats under stress. That coordinated complexity is what wins modern air battles.